I found her in the wreckage just beyond Outpost Helios 9, where the red dust of Karos forswallowed broken metal like a grave. I wasn't supposed to be there. Civilian salvage crews like mine stayed well away from border skirmishes, but the contract paid extra for anything close to the combat zone, and extra pay mattered when you were one missed payment away from losing your ship. The smoke was still rising when I saw her. She was slumped against a shattered bulkhead plate, armor cracked open along one side. Alien blood, dark and shimmering like oil under sunlight, soaked into the sand. She looked unconscious, maybe dead. Then her chest moved.
Slow. Shallow.
I swore under my breath and checked the sky. No drones. No patrols. Whatever battle had happened here was already gone, leaving only silence and wreckage behind. I wasn't a medic, just a human engineer with basic first aid training and more stubbornness than sense. But leaving a wounded soldier to die didn't sit right with me. Her armor wasn't like anything I'd seen up close. Elegant curves layered over dense plating, etched with symbols that pulsed faintly as if still trying to draw power. I carefully pried open the damage section, expecting resistance or maybe a security shock. Nothing happened. Underneath, she was taller than me, even slumped. Pale silver skin. Long, dark hair braided with thin strands of metal. Her face was sharp and regal even in pain, like she belonged on a throne instead of bleeding out in the dirt. "Easy," I muttered, even though she was unconscious. "I've got you." I used a portable sealant on the worst of the wound, then injected a universal stabilizer. Risky on non-humans, but better than doing nothing. Her breathing steadied almost immediately. I dragged her into the cargo bay of my ship, the Wayward Star, and laid her on the emergency cot. As the hatch sealed, I finally let myself breathe. She woke an hour later. I was recalibrating the NAV console when a cold voice spoke behind me. "Human, why do I still live?" I turned slowly. She was sitting upright, eyes glowing faintly gold, one hand hovering near her chest as if expecting pain that wasn't there anymore. "You were dying," I said. "I fixed that." Her gaze sharpened, studying me the way a general studies a battlefield. "You touched me." "Yes," I said flatly. "And if you're about to kill me over it, at least let me say it was worth it." For a long moment, she said nothing. Then her shoulders relaxed, just a fraction. "You show no fear," she said. "I do," I replied. "I just don't let it decide who lives." That seemed to amuse her. Barely. She swung her legs over the side of the cot, testing her balance. "I am called Valeth," she said. "I was betrayed." "Figures," I said. "Nobody ends up half dead in the desert because things went well." She gave a sound that might have been a laugh. Over the next few days, I learned she was a warrior. At least, that's what she let me believe. She spoke of campaigns and enemies, of duty and sacrifice, but never of rank. I repaired her armor using spare alloys and my own modifications. She watched closely, asking questions about human engineering, about why we favored adaptability over elegance. "Because things break," I said. "And when they do, pretty doesn't matter." When her strength returned, she helped me salvage the remaining wreckage. She moved like a storm contained in a body, precise, unstoppable. Still, she never took command, never ordered me around. She asked. It was only when the fleet arrived that everything changed. We were orbiting Karos 4 when my sensors lit up like a supernova. Dozens of warships dropped out of hyperspace, formation flawless, weapons primed. Valeth stepped onto the bridge beside me, her expression unreadable. "They have found me," she said. "Friends or enemies?" asked, hands shaking over the controls. "Both," she replied. A transmission cut through every channel at once. The voice that came through wasn't requesting, it was proclaiming. All vessels, stand down. You are in the presence of her radiance, Valeth Aurelian, Empress of the 7 spiral galaxies. I stared at her. Empress. She closed her eyes briefly. Galactic Empress. My mouth went dry. You said you were a warrior. I am, she said softly. Before I was Empress and after. The fleet hailed again, this time more cautiously. Reports followed, how rival houses had staged a coup, how her command ship had been sabotaged, how half the galaxy believed her dead. And you didn't think to mention this? I asked. You would have fled, she said. Or bowed. I needed neither. Before I could respond, smaller ships broke formation. Attack craft. The coup faction had arrived. The wayward star wasn't built for combat, but I wasn't about to run. I rerouted power, overloaded shields, and flew straight into the chaos. Human, Valeth said, watching the tactical display. You will die. Maybe, I said, but not today. She stepped forward, placing her hand over mine on the controls. Her armor flared to life, symbols blazing brighter than I'd ever seen. Then let us fight together. What followed was madness. My improvised maneuvers combined with her command codes turned my little salvage ship into a nightmare. Enemy targeting systems failed. Friendly ships rallied around us. Valeth's voice carried across the fleet, calm and absolute. Stand with me, she said, and the galaxy will remember your loyalty. They did. The coup collapsed within the hour. When it was over, I found myself standing in a vast command chamber aboard her flagship, surrounded by beings who looked at me like I was some kind of myth. Valeth dismissed them all. You saved my life, she said. You saved my throne. Name your reward. I thought about credits, about ships, about safety. Then I shook my head. I just did what humans do, I said. We help, even when we shouldn't. She smiled then, fully, brilliantly. Then stay, she said. Not as a subject, as an equal, as the one who reminded an empress what it means to be alive. I stayed. History would later record that the Galactic Empress was restored by fleets and firepower. But Valeth and I both knew the truth. It began with a single human who saw a wounded warrior in the dust and chose to help her anyway.